Sifter for the ear.
News, interviews, reviews, cinema, TV, streaming. Action.
Hi y'all, this is Jerry Williams, aka TV Jerry. The 49th anniversary tour of Rocky Horror Picture Show will visit Richmond's Dominion Center on October 28th. They'll screen the movie with a live cast, audience participation, just like the good old days, plus a costume contest and a meet and greet with Patricia Quinn, the original Magenta. Tickets go on sale this Thursday at 10 a.m., and I'll have a link on the webpage for the show at tvjerry.com.
Skoog residence, Ramona speaking.
Hi, Mom. This is Nate. Will and I were wondering what you're making for dinner.
Beanie weenies. You two want to eat here?
Beanie weenies. No, thanks.
That's the opening of the trailer to Tapawingo, which features the voices of two of my guests today, John Heder and Amanda Bearse. Tapawingo was shot in Virginia and features John Heder, best known as Napoleon Dynamite, in the lead. Playing his mother is Amanda Bearse, who had an extensive career as an actor and director, most notably as Marcy Darcy for 11 seasons on Married with Children. They'll be joined by director Dylan K. Narang to talk about this unique film that's showing at this year's Richmond International Film Festival. But this is a different format. I did the interview with Amanda and Dylan first, then John became available later, so he's on his own after their interview.
Sifter Review of the Week.
Jackpot on Prime Video. There's a new lottery in Future California. Anyone can claim the prize if they kill the winner within 24 hours. No guns. This leaves the movie open for non-stop chase with all manner of attacks. Aquafina, who can be very funny, is more manic here as the winner. John Cena, charmingly amusing as always, volunteers to protect her from the pursuit of the constant crowd. The concept leaves plenty of room for wacky physical encounters, and those fights sometimes prove clever, other times just messy. Even though director Paul Feig keeps it zipping along, the script is seldom genuinely funny. The movie is passable because of the energy, but lacks the punch to really, do I dare say it, hit the jackpot. I gave Jackpot 2.5 stars. Dylan Narang and Amanda Bearse, welcome to Sifter for the Year.
Thank you.
Hi, Jerry. Thanks.
So now, Dylan, you write and direct your own movies, and your company is called Foggy Bottom Pictures. I'm assuming you're a DC native?
Yeah, we're Virginia natives, Northern Virginia, and then I went to school at Georgetown, so it seemed like a name that when I saw it was available, I couldn't believe it, so I had to jump at it. As for writing and directing, I do that most of the time. On this one, there was a very good writer named Brad DeMaria. He wrote the original script. He submitted it to my company back in 2011. All the interns liked it, and I didn't. I couldn't see what they were seeing in it. And after a number of years, I saw it as a director, and that's how I wanted to make the movie. So it was hard to wrap my head around just producing the movie. And then around 2018, I just said, you know what, screw this. I'm calling the writer. And he was out of the industry. He just said, hey, man, if you want to make it, you can make it. I'm totally fine with that. And I asked, do you mind if I rewrite some of it? And he was totally cool with it. So that's kind of what happened there. He's in the movie.
Where's he what's his cameo?
He is the bingo caller.
Oh, okay.
The mustache, with the mustache.
Right.
Can I mention what I asked you to do?
Absolutely.
Please.
100%.
It's an LGBTQ plus story, so I'll share it with you since we're comrades in arms.
There we go.
I was signed up to do it, but I said I need to see the whole script. And when I read it, there were things in the script that were, I couldn't be in a movie that had verbiage in it.
Right,
They were slurs, they were being said by the bad guys.
Ah.
So that's a qualification, but I said, we can't put words like that out in the consciousness anymore. And Dylan was very understanding about that and turned around and took it all out.
Footnote.
In case it's not clear, Amanda Bearse came out as a lesbian in 1993, 4 years before Ellen, and apparently there were homophobic slurs in the script.
One, I would have done anything that Amanda wanted done to keep her in the movie because she's amazing. I'm glad you brought it up. I think it worked better.
Amanda, you mentioned it, and I wanted to ask you, you have directed a ton of stuff. I mean, you started directing on Married with Children, and you've directed so much TV, and so now you're sitting on a set with another director, and I know you've done that before, too. Was there ever a time when you're like, oh, I don't think that's what I would do, or did you just...
No, not at all. That brings me back to the relationship and the attitudes about people on camera and off camera and so forth, that diplomacy is not a given in our industry.
Right.
And Dylan was the greatest diplomat. I could tell that he knew what he wanted. He was very clear, but very even keeled, very supportive, a real champion, but also drove the train. He's a lovely, soft in a good way guy, and he listens and he's patient. These are things that I would call soft. And it was just a lot of fun.
How long had it been since you were in front of a camera?
Well, I hadn't been in a feature in about 40 years.
Wow. Okay. But you've been in TV.
That's just the genre. Yeah.
Like I know you're probably doing what you want, but a travesty to not have you in front of a camera for that long.
Well, that's very sweet of you to say, but it was purposeful on my part to stop acting after Married with Children so that I would be taken seriously as a director, that was the momentum and the career that I wanted to push.
Okay.
Right,
And there were only a handful of women doing it at the time. And even then, I had a lot of pushback, especially as my resume grew, because I aged. And so Hollywood is not diplomatic in that way. I kind of retired and then thought, okay, what now? Oh, well, maybe I'll try that acting thing again. Sure enough, Tapawingo was the first one out of the gate. And I have to say, I haven't really pushed any further because I do like being retired, but I also love the process.
So, Dylan, I want to ask you, and I know you've heard this before, there are obviously comparisons to Napoleon Dynamite. You got John Heder in the lead. His best friend in that was a Hispanic man. And then in this one, Jay Picardo is also Hispanic. Have you been getting that a lot? I mean, there's some Wes Anderson in there too, obviously, but have you been getting, say...
Yeah, I think there's going to be people that make the comparison regardless. Now, I would be lying to you if I didn't say, hey, we had references. I had references that I was looking at of what I kind of wanted the movie to look like and coloring wise and shooting wise. And Napoleon would have been one of those, I was kind of living in that space. Those are the movies that I love and I respond to. So, that's kind of the style that I kind of like a lot and I want to put out there. Again, it would be disingenuous to say it has nothing to do with that. At one of our screenings where John was there, John Heder, I was trying to avoid it and not talk much about it because it's its own movie. It's our movie. And he said people have been asking him for 20 years, 25 years, whatever it's been, for Napoleon Dynamite 2. And he said, guys, this is it. This is Napoleon Dynamite 2. You're never going to get it as close as this. Now, as far as Efren goes...
Footnote.
In case you forgot or didn't hear it, Efren was Efren Ramirez, who played the sidekick in Napoleon Dynamite. And Jay Picardo has the role as the sidekick in this movie.
When we were casting, we were looking at a bunch of young comedic actors. There was no thoughts of it needs to be a Mexican actor or it needs to be this or that. When Jay got up there, Jay had a mustache. He brought his own prop glasses. And it was his delivery and everything was amazing. And I responded to it so much. I said, that's the guy. It's amazing. It's really funny. So much, in fact, that I told him before he came, hey, bring those glasses with you. So that's what it was. He already had it. He had nailed it.
You mentioned earlier that was the town adjacent. Actually, this was shot in Virginia, as you know. Why did you pick Virginia? I know you're from here. And how did the Virginia Film Office help you make that decision? Or did they? They
did. But, I had been in LA for almost 20 years. I had made movies, produced movies, and done stuff there. And it's a certain kind of look, depending on the budget and how far away you can go. It's a certain kind of look that you get when you shoot movies out there. And after, working with the script and thinking about what would work for the movie, it didn't feel to me at all like it wanted to be an LA movie. It wanted to be somewhere else. I always missed all the greenery that we have here and everything that we have in Virginia. Maybe a testament to how much the other creatives liked the script, because all of the keys wanted to shoot it in their hometown. Right, like we had a DP who wanted to shoot it in Washington State, and we had a producer who wanted to shoot it in New Jersey. On down the line it went. For better or worse, as much as Amanda just said, I'm diplomatic. Since I'm the director, I get to win. So I wanted to go back to Virginia because I've always wanted to shoot a movie in Virginia, and I think we just have, some of the best kind of scenery and everything that you could ever want. Again, I'm from Northern Virginia, so I thought I'd do it there, and then. We did talk to a location scout named Isaac Regelston, who's very good and very nice. Yeah, he's great. He's a very, very, very kind guy. He took me around the Richmond area one day, even though he couldn't do the job. He was on other stuff just because he likes doing the work. and he said, you should really talk to Charles Dane, who was the assistant city manager or city manager at Hopewell. He was just so kind and excited. He just took me around the whole town, and he had already figured out, look, if you want to shoot at the high school, this is an option and this is an option. If you want to shoot here, we have this thing. And if you want to shoot here, we have this thing. Like, he just kind of made it one, very, very easy for me to say yes, and very, very difficult for me to say no to shooting in Hopewell.
And so it's delightful for me to be in the South. It feels different. The air feels different, and it's not LA. Dylan's absolutely right. And there is, I don't know, I was struck with, it feels like these people live there. That's the vibe I got when I saw the picture, is that it made a lot of sense that this cast of characters is rooted there. So it was just a great choice.
Was this your first time in Virginia, Amanda?
Oh, no. I have good friends who live in Charlottesville.
Okay.
And being from the Southeast, I've traveled all over. But I also want to say, I was so surprised. I had no idea. Why would I? But that Virginia has such a rich film community.
Yeah.
And I talked a lot because I talk a lot with crew. That's kind of my thing, being more a crew person than a cast person.
Right.
And that they were able to really, a lot of them went to Atlanta because it's a big production
Yeah.
center, but that a lot of them were really able to make a living working in the industry and just being based there. And I just thought that was great.
Surprise guest drop in.
Hi, Jerry. This is Rex.
Footnote.
Rex Tees is a Richmond-based editor who also edited this film. He was on one of my podcasts in 2023, and I'll include a link on the webpage for this show at TV Jerry.
Hey, Rex.
Hey, Dylan. How's it going?
What was the experience like for you working on this movie?
It was a lot of fun. The comedy, when I read the script, was right up my alley. It's the kind of stuff that I find funny. And when I was putting it together, there was a lot of times where nobody was in the room but me, and I'm just laughing because it just something would just strike me as particularly funny. Especially some of Amanda's stuff was just so dry, and the stuff on the phone was just killing me when I was watching it. So it was great. It was right during the pandemic, so it was right in the middle of getting used to not being in the room with the people you're working with.
Right.
So there was a huge adaptation I had to make. Well, there's no turning around, talking to the person, hashing it out. It's like you're doing this weird screen thing, which we're all used to now.
Right.
But at the time, nobody was used to it. So it was a complete reset with how we worked as a team to get the movie done.
So, Dylan, first of all, why did you choose Rex? And secondly, what did he bring to it?
Rex is very, very talented. He had a great resume. He had worked on a bunch of stuff. But how was it working with him? I can say Rex is amazing. Really, 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 really good editor. And I want to take it a step beyond that. He has a really good attitude about everything. I'm sure I was a pain more than once, and I never heard anything from him about it. He was just like, yep, let's try it. Let's get it done. Let's move. Let's keep going. Does this work? Does this not work? Completely objective, a professional and incredibly friendly and easy to communicate with, and all of the things that you want in an editor. So that's what I can say about working with Rex. I would work with him 10 out of 10 times if I could.
There you go, Rex. So
I'll echo that, Dylan, in that a lot of working in comedy is how you cut it. And so, Rex, you did a great job. I laughed out loud a lot in the film. Again, I was very surprised about Dylan's visual style. I had no idea what was going on for once. It was nice to step in front of the camera. It'd been the first time in a really long time. And it seemed like, Rex, that you got inside Dylan's head enough to build the piece that he was creating. So bravo to both of you.
was there any one thing you can remember that you really wanted and Dylan was like,
No, not really. I mean, most of the stuff that we worked on was typical comedy stuff, which is what's the latest you can get into the scene and what's the earliest you can get out. You know, that's what a lot of our conversations revolved around. It's like, what's the core of the scene? What's the funny part of the scene? Let's find it and let's get to that and then go to the next scene.
I think the obstacle, the challenge became for Rex and I when we finished everything, and I had what was it, Rex? Like a 2 hour and 28 minute cut?
Yeah, it's like 220, like 228. Yeah.
At some point, you know, you have to show it to your family and friends, and they say, it's a 2.5 hour comedy, man. What are we doing?
Well, and that the rub is that it's a comedy.
Yeah.
And what is the running time? I don't even know.
148, I think, all in.
yeah.
Well, 148 is a risk. for a
Yeah.
comedy at that time, but the story does flow and the comedy is there, and then the humanity is there. And to me, that's the best comedy. And that's a lot of John Heder too, is that he is just such a lovely soul. Even when he's doing it's the silliest stuff, it's emanating from such a human place. And then you believe the funny.
I got very lucky on this one. Very, very fortunate to be around a bunch of people that at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I want to work with them again. That's tough to do, tough
Well,
to
I'm
get.
waiting for the call.
I'm writing it, Amanda. I'm writing it. We'll get there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Rex, I want to thank you for dropping in. It's great to hear from you again, and thanks for contributing to the movie.
No, thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing again with all the crew and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
You
you.
too.
Rex.
Great work.
So, of course, Amanda, besides working with John, most of your work was with the other John Ratzenberger.
Footnote.
John Ratzenberger is an actor most associated with his role as Cliff on Cheers. How was that? Because he's a pretty broad guy, and your character has to be pretty subdued.
Even though John and I swam in the same pond in terms of sitcoms being produced at the same time, and even with my work behind the camera, we never had crossed paths. Turns out he lives a couple of towns down from me here in the Coachella Valley in the Palm Springs area.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. Yeah, it was an interesting experience, and I think it was a good color to add in. And it kind of surprised me about Ramona. And tell me again the character's name, because it was always two names. What was his name?
Tom Rohn.
Tom Rohn. And that reminded me of something in Married with Children, because we had a character named Bob Rooney, and he never was called Bob. It was always Bob Rooney. So she always said Tom Rohn, which made me laugh. And John is very comfortable with who he is, and he just kind of sat down in that part, and it worked.
Speaking of Married with Children, now that's a very different style than this. I mean, in terms of broadness versus this is a lot more subtle.
Yeah, Married with Children didn't start out as quite as broad we ended up. You know, we kind of became The Simpsons, a live action version.
Still my favorite show.
Once again, you can't play comedy for comedy. You have to believe in your own reality as a character and the reality of the situation. So in that vein, and the crazier it got on Married, the more you have to be secure in your own truth. So it was kind of the same. And if you play comedy to be funny, it'll kill it.
Right, sure.
So again, it's about the dimensionality of the characters on the page. It's about Dylan's direction, and it's about the cast that he put together. The funny comes from everybody really believing and being grounded in the truth of their character.
Well spoken. You'd think you'd been a director before.
I don't know.
Now, Dylan, you've been working the festival circuit. You've been working this, and this is your last appearance at this point, the Richmond Film Festival. How's it been showing it to people and getting a response?
I think we've had a really, really good response, which is heartening. We've had a lot of people laughing at it and a lot of people interested in it. And
you mean laughing with it, not laughing at it?
From the jokes in the movie, yeah.
We just wanted laughs.
Exactly. Yeah, any way you can get them.
You don't have to qualify.
Exactly, right.
You know, I think we've had a good reaction, a really good reaction from an audience. I think it's been, it's always a challenge trying to find how you're going to take the next step, right? Where we're going to find distribution, how we're going to put ourselves out. And unfortunately, I think we're in a part of we're in a time period for the industry where there doesn't seem like there's a lot of room. I think even the big studios are having a hard time figuring out what they're going to put out, what kind of products they want to, what kind of movies they want to put out, what to do with them, let alone indie movies who there's been periods where we have room to breathe and actually do something. And then it seems to be you're in a time period now where no one knows what to do. Everyone's scared to make a move. Everyone's scared to decide I like comedy, or I want to put a comedy out, or this could do anything. So that part is a challenge.
Well, I want to thank y'all both. This has been lots of fun. Amanda, it's great to meet you after all these years of seeing you and hearing about you. And Dylan, great to meet you for the first time, and congratulations on the movie.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We just got to get it out there to folks, because I really believe, and it's not because I have something to do with it, and I had fun, but it is a sleeper. It has the potential of being that kind of film.
Appreciate
My
it.
pleasure. Really enjoyed it.
That was the director of Tapawingo, Dylan K. Narang, and Amanda Bearse, who plays the mom in the movie. Now here's my chat with John Heder, who's the lead in the film. So how did you get involved in Tapawingo?
Offer came across my agent's desk. I took a look at it and I really liked the script.
Now, of course, and I mentioned this when I was talking to Dylan in the interview, that there are obvious comparisons to Napoleon Dynamite. It's got the same deadpan style, kind of a formalistic look, and it has a Hispanic friend with a mustache. And this one has the same thing, different Hispanic friend, Jay Picardo in this.
My response might have been like, is this too similar? I mean, I only asked that even after reading it because I didn't feel that way. As an actor, a lot of times, obviously, I'm, precious with all the projects that I work on, and with something like Napoleon, which is, so iconic and what I'm so connected to. Obviously, I'm always careful. Like, okay, is this copying this? Is this the same thing?
Right.
I don't think in the script it reads that way. It could be anybody.
Right.
And when he had cast Jay, it was only then I was like, is this going to be like another, kind of a twosome Napoleon and his small Hispanic friend with a mustache? And yet I never once really worried about it or really gave it much thought after that, because the characters felt so vastly different with all the similarities that you mentioned. Yes, there is a lot of comparisons. And I tell people, hey, it's the first project I've done that feels the closest to a Napoleon style kind of thing, but it also has still a different style, feels different enough that I don't know. I completely view it as a completely different thing. And with the two of us as the leads, it still feels quite different.
Yeah, it definitely has differences. And of course, that was almost 20 years ago now, too. So Gina Gershon in that film played a wild, horny character. How was that working with her on that? That was a crazy role for her.
She was great. I loved Gina. What I loved is her approach to how serious, she's done so many, different kinds of projects across the board.
Sure.
So for her to get involved into this very silly, comedy, silly role, but she went all in. She was really committed to like finding just the character, but the look and everything. She was doing her own makeup, basically her own hair. She was just like, I wanted to be very specific to this, very specific to that. And she was a total pro and a total gem to work with.
And speaking of which, I talked to earlier Amanda Bearse, and she was a lot of fun in the interview. I'm assuming, speaking that she's also a director and an actor, what did she bring to the movie and working with you?
I loved Amanda. She did a great job. When you first meet her, you're like, okay, I recognize her, but she looks way different than she used to look. She's a comedian. You remember that she really knows how to deliver a spunky line and really make it fun and also, heartfelt. I love when I get to work with actresses who play my mom, because there is a little bit of that mom role off and on set that I really, respond to, because I loved her and we got along great.
So what was the biggest challenge for you in making this movie?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of similarities to Napoleon. What can I do to this character to make it different, to make it feel like, when you read it, he is kind of stoic. There is the character didn't read like a Napoleon, but it wasn't as a specific voice as Napoleon was when I first read that. I remember, like months before, just trying different sounds, trying different voices, trying different cadences. How do I carry myself? What do I do? So yeah, that was probably the biggest challenge for me, is just figuring out how to do that.
And I know you were in Richmond a few years back with Efren doing a screening of Napoleon Dynamite downtown at one of the theaters. I didn't get to go to that. What was your impression of Richmond? Did you get to spend any time here, or were we just in and out?
Well, that was in and out. But when I shot the movie, I got to spend a lot more time in Richmond, because we shot a number of scenes and days. And then on days off, me and some of the other cast members, we would travel up to Richmond, because we stayed in Hopewell, which is about,
30 minutes away.
What is that? 30, 40 minutes south.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we would just rent bikes and we'd bike all over the city, the downtown. We went and explored the Hollywood Cemetery. Was amazing. We shot at what's the name of the park?
Maymont. Where the big fight was in Maymont, right?
Yeah. And so, we spent a lot of time there. I mean, my first weekend there, I rented a road bike and biked all the way down now it's the James Trail. What's the name of the trail again?
I think it's the James River Trail. I'm not sure about it.
Yeah. And I biked all the way down to Jamestown. So I loved it. I absolutely had a blast. I love historical places, and
we got plenty of that.
We went river rafting.
Wow,
on
cool.
one of our days off. We took the whole cast and crew. I just love trying to organize and do things with the cast and crew when we have our few days off. When you're working, on location in an independent film, it's always such a labor of love. And those are my favorite kind of productions to do because you really can hunker down and get to know everyone, the cast especially, but even the crew. You're all like part of this really special project and you get a chance to get to know them a little bit more. So we love doing those side activities.
Great. And what's next for you?
Well, I've got a couple movies in the can, including this one. There's a movie I did with Billy Zane that is hopefully coming out later this year called Waltzing with Brando.
That would be another movie with Billy Zane because he was in this one too.
Yeah. It was funny because I was attached to this other movie with Billy first, and Tapawingo happened first, and Billy got cast for that. I was like, I told the director, that's funny. I'm going to be working with him on this other project. And then that happened. It's a small biopic about, Marlon Brando, played by Billy Zane, who is just uncanny in every way. There's another sci-fi like horror thriller that is coming out later this year called I See the Demon. They changed the name.
There you go. I don't guess you're coming to Richmond for Tapawingo, though, are you?
I would love to. We're still figuring out. I mean, I've got a pretty busy schedule. I would absolutely love to, but I'm trying to shift things around.
There you go. Well, it'll be warm enough you can still get back on the river. September's going to be great. Is there anything you want to mention about Tapawingo that you haven't had a chance to talk about, or anything you want to tell people that stood out?
I only that, I hope everybody, like with every film, that you can kind of feel that excitement and love that goes into a project that, I had a blast making. I think it's such a visually incredible film. I truly think it has an audience out there that can really appreciate it and have fun with just these, wacky characters. And I hope people see it.
Well, I want to thank you so much for dropping in today. It was great to see you. Enjoyed the movie, and hopefully we'll get to see you in Richmond.
Yeah, thank you.
That was John Heder, who has the lead in Tapawingo, which was shot in the area and will show at this year's Richmond International Film Festival. I'll include a link on the webpage for this show at tvjerry.com.
Coming soon. In theaters.
Blink Twice, originally titled Pussy Island. Channing Tatum plays a billionaire who invites some women to his private island where things go wrong. This is the first directorial effort by Zoe Kravitz. The Crow, Bill Skarsgård buffs up as the lead in this reimagining of the 1994 classic. Sing Sing, Coleman Domingo stars as a man in prison who starts a theater acting program in the jail, based on a true story. Strange Darling, this week's thriller. A one-night stand spirals into a serial killer's murder spree. Between the Temples, Jason Schwartzman plays a cantor whose grade school music teacher decides to get her bat mitzvah, and she's played by Carol Kane. The Forge, a high school graduate faces life decisions in this drama.
TV and streaming.
Untamed Royals on Netflix. A group of entitled high school students use their status to get away with crimes. The New York Times presents Lie to Fly on Hulu. A disgruntled pilot faces accusations of attempting to intentionally crash an Alaska Airlines flight, sparking a terrifying ordeal mid-air. Terminator Zero on Netflix. Timothy Olyphant stars in this series based on the popular films. After Baywatch, Moment in the Sun on Hulu. People involved with the popular series examine its popularity. Chaos on Netflix, a modern retelling of Greek mythology with Jeff Goldblum. City of God, The Fight Rages On Max. 20 years after the original film, this re-examines how conflicts between police, traffickers, and militia impact the community. Next week, we travel to Norfolk to feature a film to be shown at the Virginia Queer Film Festival. This is Jerry Williams. Thanks for listening.
For more Sister, including literally thousands of reviews,
Visit tvjerry.com.
That's a wrap.